I can normally come to you with a smile on my face. I can normally come to you and pretend like I'm happy and that everything is going to be okay, even when it's not quite there. But the decommitment of Sean Baby Shaq Phillips is a moment where, my mother always taught me if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. So, with that being said, I probably shouldn't be saying anything that I'm going to say in today's show. But we're going to say it anyway on today's episode of Locked On Wolfpack.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
At this point, I really hope that Wolfpack Nation is cognizant of the fact that we probably shouldn't be paying attention a lot to what's going on in basketball until the season rolls back around. Realistically, that's where I am with this thing. When is the last time we got like really, really good news, right? Like even the things that we've been excited about in the grand scheme of things, what are they? We've been excited about transfers coming through, transfers enjoying themselves, saying they had a good time, and all that potential transfers, saying that. We have not been excited about an actual commitment. And if I'm lying, I'm flying. I haven't, as far as I know, we still don't have a single commitment. We still don't have a single signee in this upcoming class except LJ Thomas. And all due respect to LJ, I believe he can develop into a really, really good player in Raleigh. I do. I don't have any doubt about that. But one player is not enough for what we just saw, for what we're up against losing. One player ain't enough. It's just not. It's just, and you're lying to yourself if you say it is. Well, what do you mean you're lying to yourself? We just had one of the worst seasons, if not the worst, in program history for basketball. More losses than we've ever had. We had a point where there were only, I believe it was 30% of our scholarship players were on injured reserve. This is not ideal, to say the least. To say the least. We are only returning two bigs. Two. And one of them is coming off a season-ending injury. It's, as optimistic as we want to be, as much as we want to smile and put on a happy face here, it's tough. It's tough because, again, we're not looking at a situation where this is one or two bad things. It has been consecutive, just bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. And I'm not even talking about Cam Hayes transfer and Jalen Gibson transfer. I don't care. That's not a big deal, right? Cam Hayes is transferring into a program that will not be able to play in the postseason more likely than not. That's the reality. They're probably going to be banned from the postseason the entire time he's there. Won't even get to sniff an NIT. I don't care. Jalen Gibson's transferring to Winston-Salem State. More power to the Rams. I hope he can do great things there. I'm not dying about that. I'm not livid, upset all over the place about that. It's not a big deal. What is a big deal? Losing Dillingham. What is a big deal? Losing Phillips. Because now two players who were set to be cornerstones of the program going forward are gone without ever having touched foot down on campus, which seems to be a constant theme under Keats. And so, I am telling you all, Wolfpack fans, I'm telling you all, for the betterment of your mental health, do not just put basketball to the back of your mind for a little while. And I know some people are going to say, well, this is contributing to the apathy that's already surrounding basketball. Here's the thing. I'm a firm believer in the Luther Vandross, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. We have to love one Keats and give him support right now. And to be quite honest, You tell me what has happened in this previous regular season, or I'm sorry, this what has happened during this postseason, during or off season rather. What has happened during this off season that will convince you that we are in a better position than we were last year? Don't worry, I'll wait. Again, y'all know me. Anybody who listens to this show regularly, anybody who's interacted with me on social media knows I will respond to you. That is, I make no bones about it. As sure as the sun rises on the east and sets on the west, if you tell me, hey, Ken, I think that we're in a good position because da-da-da, I'll follow you up. I'll have a conversation with you about it, whether I agree with you, whether I disagree with you, whether I think, that's a very intelligent take. That's me and your take are aligned. Whether I'm like, oh, that's a very nuanced say. I get where you're going. Whether I think you've said one of the least informed things I've ever heard in my life. I'll interact with you. But I'm asking you, tell me something that says, if I pay attention to what's happened to this basketball team during this offseason, I'll have a ton of hope. And this is not to say, oh, I don't believe that Keats is working in the transfer portal at all. I don't believe he'll get into these really good guys who have a little bit of a name and have big programs out there. I believe again, one of the best things that you can sell, especially the folks coming out of the portal, you're going to be playing in a huge conference. You're going to have plenty of playing time. You're going to have the opportunity to have the ball in your hands a lot. Whatever you do well, you're going to have the opportunity to do it at state, because we don't have enough of anything to say that we would definitively take away anybody's ability to do their thing. If you're a playmaker, we got it. We got, baby, if you want to come in and pass that ball, if you want to move this pill, if you want to make those plays, come on. We're waiting on you. If you're a shooter, we darn sure don't have enough of those. We darn sure don't have enough of those. If you're a slasher, come on. You're a rim protector. Come on. You're a rebounder. Come on. We will give you the opportunity to do whatever you can do. NC State has a lot to sell as far as, playing time and the ability to do what you do best in the portal. But like I said, I'm not really too deep into I need to follow and track this every step of the way, because right now it's just been disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. And sometimes you beat the brakes, sometimes the brakes are beating you, and the brakes are whooping the wheels off us right now. When things start to turn more positively, I can be a little bit more tuned back in. But right now, for the sake of my mental health, I need a break. I need a break, or else I'm a break mentally. This has been a rough offseason. It has. And again, I'm not talking about the players that regressed, that I didn't see anything special from, that didn't take a step forward in the way that I thought they would. And this is no disrespect to this young man. Didn't take a step forward in the way that I thought they would in Jericho Ellis. There's no disrespect to him. Not saying that he was put in the best position to do so. Not saying that he was utilized properly to do so. His play did not materialize in the way that I thought it would. This is not to say he didn't work hard. It's not to say that he's not good. It could have very well been that our lack of a system was the cause of that, was the culprit that hid the diamond in the rough that he is. It could be a multitude of things, but it just didn't happen. And that's a matter of fact. We could talk about player development, possibly being the reason that Cam Hayes regressed, possibly being the reason that Jalen Gibson didn't turn anything. We can talk about that. We can even go back to Nick Farrar. But guess what? They didn't materialize. So am I going to be overly broken up, overly devastated about it? No. And if it is the lack of player development, then we have to believe that these assistant coaches that Keats has been hiring have to be better than what we've seen in the past. We have to believe that something good is being built here, but we also can understand that we don't need to keep our eyes on every little minute, every second, everything that we're doing, because it'll drive you crazy. It'll drive every time it seems like we get a good get or a little bit of good news, something happens to offset it. So again, I'm trusting Keats to build a winner here or to build something special. And if not, that's fine. You go your way, we'll go ours. Knowing that the only thing that was built was the worst season in NC State history, and we'll live with that. And speaking of built, I got to talk to you all about Built Bar. These things are amazing. Let me tell you something. It's about that time where folks who really been slacking a little bit are getting ready to get their summer bodies in order. Well, you can do that with Built Bar. These bars are delicious and nutritious. Go to built.com and scroll down the macros chart. You'll be blown away. High protein, low calorie, high fiber, and low carbs. Check out these macros, all right? Most Built bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually contains around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. And you've got mint brownie, coconut almond, and new is the white chocolate cookies and cream. They are all so delicious, and new flavors coming out all the time. If you think that they might have a flavor that might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious, and it will be good for you. At Built Bar, they're all about taste. They make the bars taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every time. So go to built.com and use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. So, folks, the next thing that I want to talk to you all about is we are seeing some really good things out of Pac Pros at multiple different sports, and it's going to be really good to see how they flourish and how they turn out over the next little segment here, because Reina Perez also got signed to the Seattle Storm, or she has a camp spot with the Seattle Storm to partner up with her old running mate Alyssa Cunane, and this is exciting to say the least, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The only thing that I'm a little surprised about, and this isn't saying that like, oh, the other players aren't as good as her, or she's not, or she's just head and shoulders above everybody else, and nobody else deserves the time of day. I am not going to lie to you when I say I'm a little surprised that Kai Crutchfield hasn't gotten the same type of attention. And I know I talked about this already, but again, if you're looking at what the game is becoming, if you're looking at how pace and space is important, if you're looking at how there's a lot of players, or a lot of teams rather, that need a player who can space the floor, it's a little surprising to see that she hasn't been picked up already. It is. There's no way around that. I mean, at the end of the day, there is something to be said about a player who openly, happily sacrifices so much of what her game could be to become basically a very, very excellent player in her role at NC State. That's a winner. That's a winner. That is more important than anything that you could imagine for the most part for any team. A player who's willing to do what needs to be done in order to win at the sacrifice, at the cost of personal success. Putting the team before me, that's where champions are made. And I know a lot of people say, well, no, champions are made because it's not about your X's and your O's, it's about your Larrys and your Joes. What do you think the Larrys and the Joes means? The Larrys and the Joes doesn't always mean the most talented. It doesn't always mean the biggest, strongest, fastest, best shooting, best handle, best this, best that. It means the Larrys and the Joes that are willing to come together for a purpose that is bigger than them, to have one of those big shiny rings on their finger, to have 2 of them, to have 3 of them, to have however many. That's what matters. That's what matters. And then we're going to transition over to some other sports where we've got Kerry Angeline catching his first touchdown for the Birmingham Stallions in the USFL. The big man still got moves. He was showing off what he did with NC State in terms of the effectiveness that he had in the red zone in the USFL. Hadn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. And I am honestly surprised that he didn't catch on with the Cardinals, considering what their tight ends were. But it's Cliff Kingsbury. And anybody who doesn't know how I feel about Cliff Kingsbury, well, I'll just tell you this. Before he ever coached a game in the NFL, before Kyler Murray had ever played a game in the NFL, I made a tweet. March 22nd, 2019. I feel so bad for Kyler Murray, not because of his life situation. He's won in that regard. But his career will be a failure while Cliff Kingsbury is there, and he'll take the blame. If you think I'm lying, go look it up. Go look it up. That is a paraphrasing of the tweet, but it is exactly from that day, March 22nd, 2019. I'm telling you, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I have the word. I've seen it. I saw it coming. So, Kerry Angeline getting cut by the Cardinals, not exactly surprising. I mean, that organization's a little bit of a clown show, especially when you have Cliff Kingsbury at the helm. But that's another story for another time. The NFL draft coming up. We got some players who I'm fairly certain are going to be drafted, and a lot of people are talking about the video of Emeka Emezi where he was talking about the last two catches against the University of No Consequences, where it ended up being 2 touchdowns that gave us a victory that was snatched out of the jaws of defeat in essence, right? And I think that one of the things that must be talked about when you talk about Emeka Emezi is not just a smart guy, not just a reliable guy, but a playmaker. I think that's what folks need to realize about Emeka Emezi at a high level. And I am aware of the fact that, there have been receivers in his mold before that haven't exactly panned out because they couldn't get a lot of separation and they weren't the biggest bodies and all this and that. Emeka Emezi has what it takes to play at a high level on the next level. And I'm gonna come to you all live with the recap of the first round, where I'm sure Big Ake is gonna go, with a recap of whoever is going on the second day, which I think Emeka and Bam Knight could sneak into there. And I'm going to come to you with a recap of the entire draft after that. But honestly and truly, I really think that in the game that is, in an NFL game that is more and more and more becoming a game of specialization. And I know people are thinking, well, Ken, what are you talking about? Deebo Samuels is the most valuable guy in the world and he can do all these things. Deebo Samuels is an aberration. You can talk all you want about, oh, he's great with the ball in his hands after the catch, and that's why he's so important. He can do all these different things. No, it's rare. It's rare to see. More and more we are getting guys who can run specific routes, who do specific things very well. And to me, Emeka Emezi is very much so cut out for that role. He's very much so cut out for the role of either a red zone playmaker or, honestly and truly, I believe he could be your second receiver. I believe he could be your second receiver in the NFL. I think he can, at his peak, be a second receiver in a pretty good passing game. I think he can do that. I think that's possible. While people talk about, there's not the best separation, there's something to be said for a guy who catches everything that hits his hands. There's still something to be said there. There's still something to be said for big, strong hands and a big catch radius. That is vitally important. And I'll tell you this. A lot of the big guys who are bigger than Emeka, who for whatever reason they didn't pan out, but they had some of the same strengths as Emeka. One of the things that a lot of them did not have that he does, really, really good hands. Really good hands. He's going to make the easy catch. He's going to make those catches. He's not going to have those drops where you're like, oh my God, that's going to kill us. This is an easy, you're a pro getting paid millions. You need to make this catch. He's not going to drop a lot of those. He's not. A lot of players that we've seen in the past few years that didn't exactly pan out in the NFL, that was one of their problems. If you look at I want to say Hakeem Butler out of Iowa State, one of his problems, he couldn't make the easy catches. He could make the spectacular ones here and there. He could, for sure, huge body, huge catch radius. He dropped a lot of easy ones. And that's no offense to the man. That's not saying, oh, he's horrible, he's terrible, and I wouldn't want. No, it's not that. It's just telling the objective reality of that's what this is. That's what you're looking at when you see players who are in his mode a little bit that just for whatever reason can't quite make the plays that need to be done. But I'd be betting on a Mecca measure to have success in the NFL. And if you're a bettor, go to betonline.net. It's your number one source for all your sports betting stats and sports info. Find all of the latest sports development, league reviews, news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the MLB season, right at BetOnline. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. Head to the website today to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So we're about to land this thing, but again, I am taking, if you haven't seen the movie Don't Look Up on Netflix, I am taking the approach of the masses in that movie in terms of what's going on with our basketball program right now. We have to support our coach. As you know, this is our, we got to support him, got to show him love and all that good stuff. And right now, this is one of those moments where I just, give me something to support, right? Give me one reason to stay here and I'll turn right back around, right? Give me something. And that's what we're looking at right now. And again, the assistant coaching hires, pretty good. I might even get into those later this week. Pretty good. But with that being said, it's tough. It's tough. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, the Pac Pros are doing well. The Pac Pros are doing well. I can't wait to see how Kayla Jones does with the Minnesota Lynx. I can't wait to see how Raina and Alyssa do with the Seattle Storm. I can't wait to see it. I'm really excited to see what's in store for those women. I'm really excited to see Kerry Angeline doing what he's doing at a high level. I'm really going to be excited to see where all of our guys who are going to get drafted go next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm really excited about it. We're going to see some pretty good and pretty exciting stuff come out of these folks in the next few years because they did great things with the Pac, and I expect nothing less than greatness from them in the pros. Thank you all so very much for coming out. I appreciate you every single time. Y'all make this show what it is. Peace and love, y'all. And as always, go Pac.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.